Everyday topics
Yep.
in the news,
Focus on politics.
politics.
My name is Daniel.
I'm AJ, and we are your Dekorum.
Dekorum. We're the host for today. So, AJ, when do you want to get started?
All right,
What's in the news today?
the big one,
The big one. The
RGB.
RGB, the passing of RGB. So, we're looking at the Senate's going to certainly confirm a new justice, right? Conservative justice.
Of course,
Okay. Now, what is our issue with this confirmation process?
that Democrats are gonna bend over
Yes, they're going to bend over,
to the will of Mitch,
as usual.
as usual.
And that's the problem. So, do we recall what happened last time under Obama's term when he had a vacancy open up?
Yes, he was denied a pick.
For how long?
Almost 8 or 9 months, I
That's
believe.
right. That's right, because they wanted to let the next president choose, right? Or have the people decide by
Yes,
picking the next president. Okay.
but that was the rule for the black guy.
That's the rule they had. All right.
Yeah.
Separate rules, right?
Yes,
So now we have, what, 2 months?
we have less than 2
Less than
months.
2 months, maybe
Yeah,
6 weeks.
6 weeks.
But right now, there's plenty of time, right? And the current president should choose. What,
Yes,
and so the only thing that's changed is, well, they still have the Senate, right?
Senate is still in the same people's hand,
Right.
and the only thing that has changed is there's a white guy in the
That's right.
White House.
I think that's
So,
fair.
yeah.
I think that's fair. And so they're going to get their pick,
Yes.
and they will have a very large majority in the Supreme Court. So, what can Democrats do to challenge that, right? What can we do?
There are a lot of things we can do, but the question is, are they willing to do that?
And
They have already rolled.
they've already rolled over.
Yes,
So, there really is no chance of them doing anything about it, right?
they're not.
They're not going to expand the court. Um,
There's no way. I mean,
no.
they have to get elected first.
Yeah. They have to get elected first. That's a bigger issue, I think.
That's a bigger issue.
I think that's the fundamental issue, right?
Yes.
And how do you feel about these choices we have for president this time around?
Uh, the difference between the two candidates is one's a wolf and the other one's a lion. So, and we're the sheep. So either way, we're gonna get eaten up.
Yeah.
So
Either way.
we are the menu.
Okay, so if we try to break that down, try to be more nuanced about it. Okay, what could you expect out of a Biden presidency? I mean, are there any opportunities for legislation, more progressive legislation, in a Biden presidency? I'm saying, is there more opportunity there than for a Trump presidency?
Uh, he- there are if he push him towards that.
Yeah.
The question is, are Democrats going to push?
Democrats probably are not going to push for that. I think we've pretty clear on that. The House is not going to push on that.
The House is not.
Senate's not
Senate
gonna
is
push.
not. They already said they're going to bring the decorum back.
They're not going to get rid of the filibuster, probably. I think he's already said that,
Yes.
which would be, if they did that, that would be kind of the nuclear option, right?
Yeah.
It would be a pretty epic move on their part. It'd be something very substantial. It'd be something that you could look on with approval. You know, you could approve of something like that. I don't think it's going to happen, though. Because, as Cory Booker said, remember what he said in that? He wants to appeal to their.
Appeal to their good side.
Yeah, that's right.
Is there a good side?
I don't know. I've not seen one as of late, or as of yet. But this is the problem when you have these types of Democrats, these corporate Democrats. Their biggest argument seems to be decorum, that they've lost it, right, with the presidency, with Donald Trump. But the policies are what's the issue is. That's the real issue.
Yes. I mean, who cares about decorum? And we care about winning,
Winning.
and we need to start winning.
We need to start.
And the only way you can put your policies through is by winning. I mean, if you're not winning, you're not doing anything.
You're going to hurt people's feelings.
Yeah.
You're going to be disliked. Here's the newsflash. you're already disliked by the people who are who are going to dislike you. So if they would just take a stand on something, substantial, you would get a lot more support. I mean, you would have, I mean, the country behind you because the policies are popular, right? We know that
Yes.
from the polling, but they're either afraid, either of failing, or if they're donors, probably the donors, most likely.
Yes.
So the agenda is going to be if a Biden wins presidency, it's going to be lukewarm. I mean, he already said nothing would fundamentally change under a Biden presidency. I don't know how else you read into that, but the way I see it is that they're going to keep rolling over. Yeah,
They are. I mean, there isn't not a damn thing they're going to do to change any of those things.
and there's no incentive to change because the majority of the base are not progressives. I don't think they're going to. If it's business as usual, as long as their person's in the White House, they're going to be happy. They're not going to like it's always been, right?
Yes.
We talk about the neoliberal policies that always hurt the middle class, and yet they both sides do it. They both engage in it. The tax cuts, the deregulation. It's like it's a running theme, right, in Washington. And so, I think that the two sides are so balkanized that it just doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who's getting hurt as long as your person wins. And that needs to we need to revamp that idea. And that's what needs to go. Right? We need to convince people that their interests matter. Right? The reason we elect people is to serve our interest, not to keep them in power. That's that's the agenda. That's the
But
agenda on this side.
how do you make them realize that? That is the thing.
That's always the problem. Yeah, that's always. I mean, we look at victories like AOC. You know, you look at the popularity of Bernie, although he didn't win, or the squad in general. People do realize that you know they do see the advantages of having progressives, um, but you just can't get the larger audience to see that. I'm not sure why.
I think it's because of the message. The message is not there. The uh, Republicans are pretty good at messaging.
They are extraordinary. We saw under Obamacare the way
Yeah,
they demonized that bill. I mean, it was scorched earth. You just
yeah,
burn it all down. It was impressive. I mean, you had people not thinking rationally about it. Take your government hands off my Medicare, that kind of thing. I mean, that's how good they are at the death panels, right?
yeah,
Death panels happening. Um, but they have a concerted message. That's the problem, right? So we have pockets of messaging,
yeah.
whether it's Elon Omar or Rashida Tlaib or AOC, Bernie. But we need from the top down, people to be on board with the same message, right? I don't know how you convince them to do that.
That is the thing. I mean, Democrats are not united behind their own people.
No,
They don't support their own
no,
people.
no, they don't.
They backstab if somebody is trying to bring about a change. Just like Green New Deal.
Hmm.
I mean, it was basically a jobs program.
Yeah,
I mean, it will create millions and millions of jobs, but they don't want to unite behind that message.
no. But you let the Republicans, create the narrative, right?
Yes.
Oh, they want to cancel all flights. So they want to cancel. And they say whatever they want,
Yeah.
and there's no pushback from the Democrats. From the progressives, yes, but the Democrats they sit back and let it happen because they want it to fail.
Yeah.
And so and the Republicans become the bad guys. Well, they're doing it. They're the ones saying it, not us. No,
I think it's a blame game.
it's a blame game.
Yeah, they say, okay, well, they're doing it. We're trying to make a change, but the change is not really there.
No, and so whatever change the Democrats want, it's incremental change. It's very minute. Whereas the Republicans don't mind doing sweeping changes of like the tax reform.
Yeah.
And that was massive, right? Massive change.
What did we get? Nothing.
Nothing. We get to complain about it now on a podcast. That's what we got. And then we get to fight apologists in the middle class, apologists for this tax plan that see no benefit at all
Yeah.
whatsoever. But the argument, again, you've talked to these people. What do they tell you? What about the tax plan, the tax cuts?
The taxes, they think it creates jobs.
Creates jobs. I mean, that's economics, right?
Yeah.
Tax cuts create jobs. Forget supply and demand, right? Forget the need for jobs. No, The incentive to create jobs is tax cuts.
Yes,
I mean, that's foolish.
if they cut taxes,
That's
they
just
will start businesses.
so.
When the point of starting a business is to make money
Yeah,
in the first place.
yeah. It's like a tax cut is a corollary to that
Yeah,
at some point, but it's to make money. It's to sell a product, right?
yeah.
Um,
They sell an
fundamental
idea, sell a service. I mean, sell something
something,
to
right?
make money to be able to pay taxes. And if you are, I mean, if you get to a position where you can pay taxes, you should be happy
You should
about it
be
because
ecstatic.
you have succeeded.
You're
The
making
American
revenue.
dream.
You're making the revenue you had planned on, and that's
Yeah.
exactly what you want to do. Um, so fundamentally, it's a misunderstanding of economics, right?
Yes.
I just don't understand. That's not the way it works. But
And it's the people that benefit from those things don't understand it.
yes,
That is the main part about it.
that's exactly right. And I guess the maybe you start from the ground up. Then you have to not only convince but educate people on how it actually works. Where the benefits actually go.
Yeah.
Again, with the military budget, we talk about all the time that most of the land does not go to the troops. It's not going for their benefit, right? Where does it go?
Goes to Raytheon,
Goes to Raytheon, goes to Boeing, right?
Boeing,
Northrop
goes
Grumman.
to General Dynamics. I mean,
I mean, it goes everywhere else that but where it should be going, right?
yeah.
Um, and I think that's just a general lack of understanding of how these things work, how Washington works, how lobbyists work. I mean, we need more education on how that works. Otherwise, people are delusional. I hate to say that word, but they're fighting for things that don't really exist. They're not, these causes are not worth fighting for. Again, tax cuts are not a cause you want to fight for billionaires. So
They're
yeah,
fighting for billionaires.
they're fighting for, and billionaires are not fighting for them. In fact, they're fighting in opposition to middle class, needs and values. So,
Yeah, I mean they got the little person fighting their fight,
which is brilliant.
which is, I mean,
I mean,
just genius.
it's genius. And it doesn't really cost them anything either.
No, it doesn't.
But you have one party that says, that's the American dream. That's what the goal is. So we should fight to maintain what they have, right?
Pull yourself up from bootstrap.
That's right. That's how you do it. That's the only way to do it.
When in theory, I mean, it sounds good, but if you try doing that, you're not going to be able to do it.
Most likely or not. And it's not going to be a solo mission anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of things contribute to success. It's not one thing. And it's often lost on people that we talked about before that it's just I don't know, everyone just goes solo, right? They go solo and they make it all on their own. There's
Yeah.
nobody else contributes. And there's infrastructure in place. There's people in
mean-
place, loans. I mean, all kinds of education that has to come into play.
I mean, all those things are there. I mean, if you just look at, even look at just Facebook, Facebook would have not existed if the U.S. government had not invested in internet.
That's right.
I mean, it was Department of Defense that invented internet,
It's really the success story of America. That's
and yeah,
Yeah, that's what you do find a point, but the government is invested in most areas in America.
it is.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Supercomputers and semiconductors, whatever you take your pick.
Take your pick.
They've invested everywhere, either directly or indirectly,
Yeah,
and it many times kept these companies afloat.
yeah. I
But
mean,
it's-
they invent this thing. They basically give money to fund these projects, and then it's given away.
yeah, it's
I
given
mean,
away.
it's given away to these companies, and then they say, "Oh, it was all our doing," when it's really not. I mean, it's not
really
there.
It's really not. And what we should be clear about is that it's our tax money. Our tax money pays the government. The government pays universities to develop these, technologies.
Yeah,
They then sell the technology to private enterprise, and they make all the profit. And we're left holding the bag, and then we're charged exorbitant fees for internet, things like of that nature. So this is it's an interesting con game going on. It's like a shell game,
Yeah.
just moving money around. But I think
I
people
mean-
don't realize that. When they say government's the problem, it's always the problem. The government is the reason many companies are still in business.
I mean, just look at it right now. This coronavirus
Yeah.
research is being done with the U.S. dollars,
Yeah.
basically. I mean, the U.S. has committed to buy almost $500 billion
That's right.
worth of drugs, and they have already given a lot of money.
That's right.
I don't have the figure right on top of my head, but it's being funded by public dollars.
which is, I mean, look at the NIH. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember, recall there was a hearing, a congressional hearing about treatments or vaccines that the NIH had created, but that private companies had actually sold for profit.
Yeah.
Like our tax dollars created those, right? And then they give it to private corporations and then they sell it, pharmaceutical companies. Like, how does that make any sense? Right? How is, like, they're doing the research, the government is doing the research, and then just selling it or giving it away to, and we don't see the benefit of that.
Well, they have put in certain dyes in the
Yeah.
the truck.
And put their name on it. The name
Yeah.
matters also. The name
I
also.
mean, it was very hard to come up with a pink color, you know.
Exactly right. So maybe that's 90% of it right there.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that people need to just understand where the money comes from. It's their money. It's their money, and then they're being like billed twice. They're being taxed first of all, and they're being charged again for everything else. Again, that goes back into healthcare, right?
Yeah.
Why the healthcare system is in the state that it's in. The for-profit model doesn't work for healthcare. We know that. We've seen it. We've seen other countries get away from that model. So, a lot of issues that people need to be educated about, and it just
So
takes.
that's why we're here.
That's why we're here. That's what the
And
podcast is for.
this is what the podcast is going to be about, and hopefully we can keep going.
And you may experience a lack of decorum on this podcast, but it's only because it's a model for how we expect our leaders to behave,
Yeah.
our representatives. That should be secondary, right?
Yeah.
Get the policies done, get them passed, and then you can be nice about it.
Yeah.
You can thank the other side once you pass your own agenda. Yeah, that's decorum, isn't it?
Yeah. You have to force your way through first.
There's no other way to do it. There's no diplomacy when one
There is
side is
none.
unwilling to compromise.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're the only side compromising, well, then you just have one side. Then it's not two sides. You just have one side. The other side gets whatever they want. Well, if they're
Maybe the
remedy-
other side is just for show. I mean, they really want
what
the other side wants.
yeah, they want the same thing. It's a appearance of
Yeah. Again, it comes down to
choice.
decorum.
yeah, of decorum. Yeah, it makes you feel better about yourself. Like, oh, I do have options. You don't have options.
No, you don't.
You don't have options. And then, so it is an issue that you're trying to fight the establishment, and the establishment's fighting you. They're fighting you back, right? They're not. So, and then you're fighting the other side as well. So it's like a two-pronged battle, and it's very difficult to maintain it, especially without the numbers. You really have to have the numbers. You need people in the streets protesting about this sort of thing. This is what you really need. I mean, like you do with the protests happening now. You need those kind of protests for, economic rights, economic issues.
Well, the thing is, even with those protests, they don't have an idea. They don't have an agenda. They don't have have a way of getting their demands met. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just out there doing things, but there's really not.
Well,
Uh,
one, you don't have a spokesperson. Like, there's nobody really leading it. I mean, you have
Yeah.
a movement, but everyone else is doing their own thing, right? You need to have somebody who can negotiate something. It
Something,
can't
yeah.
just be everyone on their own doing their own thing and expecting, like, okay, what is the policy we're trying to fix here? Are they trying to defund the police? Is everyone trying to do that? They're trying to regulate it? Are they passing legislation? I don't know exactly what the message is.
Even they are winning on this defending the police argument. They're winning. The other side.
the other side, yeah.
They're saying, "Oh, they want to get rid of the police."
Yeah.
Nobody wants to get rid of the police.
But again, the narrative matters.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter what the agenda is, but
Yeah.
the narrative matters, and
narrative. Yeah,
they're good at it. They're better at it than the other side
I
is.
mean, we want police to, be under control of the people again,
Yeah.
not police in charge of the people.
We don't want police arriving on a scene, getting out of their vehicles, and immediately start firing on people. Right?
Yeah.
We don't want that. That's the last thing we want. If we want more accountability, would be nice. We want, maybe when you're charging officers, you don't go to a grand jury. Maybe you just charge them on your own. This is a big cop out that prosecutors always use. They'll go to a grand jury, so that way there's no accountability with them. Like, well, we didn't do it. It's a grand jury chose.
Yeah,
You don't need a grand jury. You can just charge them as it is. So again, the Breonna Taylor, he could have charged those officers himself. Chose not to. Had to go to grand juries. Okay, well, and that's a problem because again, it's that relationship, right? The prosecutor and the police officers, they
Yeah,
need each other.
they work with each other. They have to have their back.
Can't
Uh,
You have to have independence, or
yeah,
else you can't do your job. It doesn't work this way, right? It doesn't work this way. So you can't you can't oversee the people who are helping you. Like
yeah.
it doesn't make any sense. So something like that would be good.
I
More
mean,
accountability.
the other day I saw a picture where these these guys were dressed in military uniform. I mean, they were holding AR-15s. It looked like a picture out of
Like
Afghanistan.
tactical gear and
Yeah, tactical vehicles, tactical gear, all these things. But it wasn't. It was out of city in Baltimore somewhere.
yeah, yeah. Just random people
Yeah,
taking up arms and creating militia.
yeah.
They seem to want so badly. Uh, yeah, and the police, encouraging, right?
Police is encouraging that. They
Encouraging,
they're working with them,
showing gratitude. Yeah, like
bringing water for them.
like how is that a good idea, right? How is bringing more weapons in? But that is the it seems to be like the expectation, right? When you have this, you have people with guns. You bring more guns. You always want more guns, and the more the merrier, right? That'll keep it under control. That's almost never the case, but that's what they see. They see them as allies, right? Against I guess, an unappreciative public.
Yes.
Well, there are reasons why you're being criticized, and that's the other issue, right? They don't accept criticism at all. Like, what are we're doing our jobs.
Is that a Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah, it sounds like Stockholm. You wonder, like where, or they're just disconnected, right? They're disconnected from like what's going on. I mean, they see it happening. They see what's happening, what the police officers are doing, like the breach of protocol or just civility or whatever you want to call it, and they don't think it's a problem. Like, they think shooting through a door is okay, blindly.
Yeah, and the people that are helping the police right now are the same people are always talking about the government is too big. They're infringing on their rights.
Yeah,
I mean, how's that? Isn't that funny where these people are coming together when they were the ones complaining about the government in the first place?
government overreach. That's the big
Yeah.
term they always use, right? Government. Well, it all depends on how it's being used. If it's being used against the people they don't like, it's perfectly fine.
Okay.
It was like with the FBI hearings with RussiaGate, right?
Yeah.
The FBI suddenly became the enemy because they were investigating Donald Trump, right? But they were always for law enforcement, always, right? Pro law
Yeah.
enforcement, pro FBI, until they investigated the person they like, and then they're enemies. Now they're fake. Now they're compromised somehow. Lindsey Graham says, "I don't trust the FBI."
But when they were investigating Hillary, it was fine.
They're all in for the
Yeah,
FBI.
these are the first responders. These
That's
are
right.
our heroes.
Heroes. I mean, this is it. Just so it flip flops right back and forth depending on who's being investigated.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, the people who follow them believe the same things, the exact same things. Like, well, as long as they're investigating them, it's okay. But as long as they're killing those people, it's fine. Not going to complain about it. Well, this is just self interest. So I don't know. So we could talk about policy all day long, but how do you defeat self interest? That's what I'm. That may be the biggest problem.
Yeah.
Human nature, right? I mean, when you peel everything else away, all the policies and the agendas, people are who they are, and they're going to look out for their own interest. And at least in that sense,
in that sense.
I don't know
yes.
how you tell them they shouldn't do that, or how you convince them not to do that. To say, hey, they're all human beings. We're all human beings here. We should all look out for each other. No,
No, no, no.
they look like other human beings. They look different. Like some people are more human beings than others. So, because it reminds me of an Animal Farm. They say like, we're all equal, but some are more equal than others. Like, wait, what? So yeah, that's an issue. It's an issue. So fundamentally, it's a very steep hill to climb because there are many avenues you have to approach, and I don't know how you attack it all at once.
You can't. I mean, it's just we have to just keep talking about it and convince more people to come on our side. I guess. And most of the country is on that side. It's just they just don't know. I guess. I mean, or
Politically,
they
it
just
seems to
don't
be.
see it. Yeah.
And even you look at the popular vote, and the popular vote seems to always go in our favor, if you want to say that. So people do vote, but it's just the way the system is in place, it's not reflecting their votes. So
I think it's because of the system, the way the system is set up. You just look at North Dakota and South Dakota; they get four senators. 250 250,000 people get four senators, and California gets two. I mean, how does that
Please
happen?
explain this, right? The most inconsequential of states, right?
Yeah,
Let's be real here. But here you have the wealthiest state in the country, the fifth largest economy in the world,
yeah. I mean,
and it gets two senators.
two senators. I mean,
Okay.
40% of the wealth of the country comes from one state.
But yeah, no, and that's the idea, right? Is to
Yeah.
keep them in check. You don't want those liberal ideas getting out. But
I mean, West Virginia gets two. I mean, why?
why do they get? That is
Uh,
something.
uh,
Maybe they could combine states and give them,
yeah.
you get two senators. This block of states get two senators. I don't know how they would do that, but
I
again,
mean,
that's seems even more impossible than what we're talking about.
I mean that is yeah.
You change.
I mean, changing that would require lot more
So
changing the
yeah,
constitution, changing all the other stuff. So I mean, that's just
yeah, that's like turning lead into
yeah.
gold. You might as well forget about it. So we're not worried about that. We're not worried about amendments because amendments
No,
are not going to happen in this country,
no.
not anytime soon. So really, you just have to get the states that matter more, that have more influence, get them on our sides. We need to win back Florida. We need to get maybe get Texas, and then maybe we can have a blue agenda, something.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, Florida and Texas are probably the closest states. I mean, being purple.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, they are purple.
they're purple. Yeah.
They just the people are not voting.
That-
I mean, how do you get these people to see that, hey, this is in your interest? That is the thing. I mean,
Especially when people who are comfortable, they may not ever see it. Like, well, I'm doing okay. I'm not
yeah.
struggling. I mean, what does it matter if I go vote or not, or if I? Because they'll say, well, no matter who wins, I'm always end up the same, right?
The thing is, people that are comfortable, they are the ones that vote the most. Actually,
Well, there you go. There you
I mean,
go.
the people that are struggling are the one that say, "Hey, I voted and nothing has really changed, so why should I vote?"
Being disenfranchised, that's what
Yeah,
they feel.
yeah.
Ah, the problem is
Nothing
that
really changes.
you as an individual, I can't convince somebody else that well, if you just vote this time, it's going to be different. Because I'm not the person in charge,
Yeah.
so I can't guarantee that they're going to do the right thing. That's the problem. So it's just I can't even promise to keep my word on that one. I don't know how you do that. How you well that comes to holding politicians accountable, right? Making sure that they do what they say they're going to do, and if they don't, you primary them. That's the key word is primary.
Yeah.
You get them out. That's no other answer. You just have to hold them accountable or find somebody else who can do the job. And then maybe they'll start to see that people are fighting for the right things, and they'll say, okay, well, all right, I can get behind this candidate. And that's so. The question is that where you start? Do you have to start there? Do you have to start at the political level, right? At the representatives first, get them, hold them accountable, and then that'll be an indicator to people who don't vote that okay, there's somebody going to keep them in check. I can vote now and feel safe that it's going to be answered, right? It's going to be addressed. My concerns. Maybe, maybe so. Maybe you start. It's like a top-down approach. It's possible.
Well, top down. I don't know if top down is gonna work, but
It may not.
yeah,
But I don't know if.
we have to go bottom up. I
It,
guess.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look, it's possible you can get it, but again, you have to convince people that the people in charge are going to do the job. And if you can't convince them of that, then you're not going to get any movement.
Yeah.
That's my point. I don't know how you convince somebody who never votes that just vote next time, and they're gonna see through or they're gonna follow through on their promises. Well, they have before, so
And the voting thing is such a slow process. I mean, yeah, you're gonna vote, and it may not change this time or
yeah.
next time, or maybe third time. It's gonna take a while, and it's just. I mean, we have to play the long game, just like the other side has.
Like the
The-
Federal Society does.
yeah, I mean, they've been planning for this back in the 70s,
Yeah, they have.
and this thing is just coming around. I mean, the last president that had chance of confirming 4 justices was Nixon, and Nixon was not as crazy as this guy.
No. And this
Uh,
guy, even though this guy's non-ideological,
yeah,
he will he will confirm. I mean, the most right-wing people you can imagine. I mean, it doesn't care. It doesn't
yeah,
affect him at all. But as long as the base is happy, that's what he'll do.
yeah.
And
I
we'll
mean,
all suffer the consequences of that.
even if you look at from Nixon's, starting from Nixon, I mean, they had Nixon, then they had Ford. Ford, I think, got 1 or 2.
Did he?
Carter didn't get any. So we had one Democratic president
We had a
that
miss.
did not get any.
Yeah.
And then we had Republican, and then we had 2 Republican president, then we had Democrat,
Yeah.
and then we had another Republican. So they had the chance of packing the courts, and this has taken them almost 50 years to get this way.
It has. And they've
And
kept their sights on it.
yeah,
They've never like deviated from what they want to do.
no,
'Cause that's how they're going to reshape the country.
yeah,
They're going to have legislation come up, go to the Supreme Court, and they're going to vote the way they expected to vote. Now, you might have outliers. You might have people like John Roberts or who sometimes side with liberals. And it's hard
yeah.
to say, but
I mean,
well,
even though we got Clinton in the middle, but Clinton was not a real Democrat. I mean, if you look at a point of view of his opposition, yeah, he was. Uh, you can say he was a Democrat, but he was more of a Reagan
yeah,
Republican than a Democrat,
yeah,
as say.
that's right. I mean, he grew up in Southern politics. So I mean, you kind of expect him to be all the same.
Yeah.
That
I
kind of
mean,
mindset.
he brought what welfare reforms. He cut Medicare, Medicaid,
Yeah.
deregulated the banks,
Yep.
which brought the 2008 crisis.
What was the deregulation of the banks? What was
Glass-Steagall,
Glass-Steagall? That's right. That's right. And
and
something I'll always hold against him is that they didn't fund the super collider in Waxahachie,
yeah,
which they could have. For the price of a B-2 bomber, they could have funded this thing. But again, that's a side note. But it's something that he could have had it slip right through his fingers.
because the bigger picture wasn't there. I mean, they were worried about, okay, we want to win the next election, and we want to get some of the Republicans on our side.
Which is, again, an argument for like one term, right?
Yeah,
One term, maybe a 6-year term presidency or something. Again, that's not going to happen, but it's an argument for it. You know,
yeah,
if you're running for reelection if you're most of your like first term, or I mean, what's the point? Right? What are you doing?
yeah.
You're not doing the job. So
I
yeah,
mean, that was the case with Obama. He was so worried about his second term, getting second term, that he was willing to make deals and bend over for Republicans and go and talk to them. Oh,
acquiesce.
I'm
Yeah.
just gonna go and talk to them, and maybe I'll get them on my side. Which is, they were never gonna be on his side.
They were not on his side before he got into office.
Yeah.
Right. Again, what did Mitch McConnell say? Our goal is to make him a one-term president.
Yep.
That was where they stood on that issue. And do you think you're going to change their minds, especially a black person coming into the? I mean, come on. You had, it was not even uphill. I mean, it was a vertical slope. There was no incline. It was just there
Yeah.
was no way to get up that hill. But
So I mean, he had 2 years. He had everything.
yeah,
I mean, Senate,
yeah.
House,
He could have
presidency. I mean, he could have rammed through anything he wanted,
anything he wanted.
and I think he would have won anyway,
Yeah,
uh, because people would have seen, okay, these things are getting done. When people see nothing happens to their life, nothing changes, nothing really fundamentally changed, just like
like
uh,
Joe Biden.
Joe Biden said, nothing fundamentally is going to change.
Well,
Well,
that's refreshing.
yeah.
And it is for Wall Street.
I mean, why are you running then? Why
Yeah.
are you there? Why do we need you?
Yeah, we just put a Republican. Yeah,
Yeah.
if nothing's gonna change, let him keep the seat, keep the House, or whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
We can just keep going the way it is. I mean, why change? Why have uh, elections anyway?
Yeah, just concede right away.
Yeah.
Don't even run. Just concede and let things be the status quo. Well, that was Obama's problem. I mean, he was too conciliatory. We knew that early on. Complained about it. I did early on. He was trying to get them on his side, trying to gain consensus. Like consensus, what does that mean? Like, what are you talking about? They don't want what you want. It's very simple. They're going to fight it tooth and nail. But he believed he could do it for some reason, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he just gave the appearance of making the effort to make his donors happy. I don't know. But nothing happened. But it shot him in the foot. He shot himself in the foot. He didn't he got nothing for it, and then he
No.
lost the House
And he lost the House
and the Senate,
and the Senate. Then he lost local elections.
and then they lost 1,000 seats. Is that what it was?
1,000 seats,
A
man.
1,000 seats, and then everything's been overturned now, except Obamacare. It's on the way out.
Yeah. I mean, if they get this new judge in place, Obamacare is pretty much done.
He's gonna be like the Ford, yeah.
Yeah.
I've forgotten. Like it's like nobody's gonna.
Nobody's going to
There'll be
remember.
nothing left of his
Yeah.
legacy, right? I mean, not that
mean-
legacy should matter.
I mean, he'll be remembered for being first black president.
Yeah.
That's about all.
That's about all.
I mean, he has the star power right now because people still remember the
Speeches.
decorum
Yeah.
and the speeches,
The
hope
intellect.
and change,
Yeah, yeah.
um,
And that's what they're
platitudes.
platitudes. Again, the surface level stuff.
Yeah.
Right. What about the promises not fulfilled? Right. The drone strike program that
Yeah.
wasn't canceled. I don't understand. I just
He was supposed to end the wars.
didn't happen.
He didn't happen. He increased it.
So, but again, it's like a rose-colored glasses, right? You put them on, you see the best parts of
Yeah.
what you liked about him. And I'm sure he's a very nice guy. We said before. I mean, nothing personal against him, but as a president, what did you do for your base? Like, I don't understand. What did you do? And you can't have that. And then they become disillusioned, right? Again,
Yeah.
a big part of the reason Trump won was because the people who voted for Obama, like, he didn't do anything. What did he do for us? I don't know. The
I mean,
stimulus money.
Most of the people that voted for Obama twice voted for Trump. I mean,
They
how
did.
does that happen?
A populist message, right? I mean, but it's weird that you'd have to have that message, and you have to follow through on it. And you have to be. Well, the thing about Trump is that he was so obviously a con man, right? He obviously not a populist. I mean, he's never been a populist in his life, right? He's been a billionaire for I don't know how many decades, and I don't know why they believed he was a populist. I don't know why they believed the rhetoric of that. I mean,
A simple fact that he said, "I am your guy. I will fight for you. I will drain this. What do you call this swamp?
the swamp, yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
which, I mean, he didn't drain the swamp. He actually infected it more.
Oh, now it's a lake.
It's a
It's a very large body of. But no, he didn't do any of those things. But he still says those things.
Yeah.
I'm fighting for you. But Hillary Clinton didn't say things like that.
No,
You have to make them think
she
that,
said we're gonna get rid of you, basically.
and the rest are
Yeah.
deplorables.
Deplorable.
they're deplorables. It was a horrible messaging, and a horrible messenger. That was the
I
problem.
mean, she was just terrible, and she didn't go to her base. They said,
No. She didn't go to her base. She skipped over like Wisconsin, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was unfortunate. Let me just turn this. We can edit that out.
yeah,
And that's the issue. I mean, people are not stupid, right? You can't be who you were all those decades as a politician, and then pretend now you're gonna be maybe a populist or you're for tuition or whatever the case was. You're just co-opting Bernie's message and expecting them to believe what you're
and
saying.
didn't even do a good job at that.
Didn't even do a good job at that.
All you had to
Uninspiring.
do is just copy and paste it, and
Real simple. Real simple. Look, people just didn't trust Bernie Sanders, right? They didn't trust who he was. I think the socialist label hurt him, I'm sure. But maybe with her credentials as a moderate Democrat, right? With that message, it could have worked. But she wasn't willing to do that.
No, she was, as they say, it fake.
She was fake. And then she got out populist.
Out-populist.
By Donald Trump, of all people,
I mean, a billionaire.
who arrives to his campaigns in a helicopter, for God's
Yeah.
sake. So, I mean, it was theirs to lose.
In that fake walk that he has. I mean that's
The fake walk, and the fake tan, and the fake.
yeah.
And he loves the poorly educated. You know, who can say that but Donald Trump?
Yeah, and still get elected.
And have them cheer.
Yeah,
Like, because the thing is, no one thinks they're dumb. That's why.
yeah,
No one thinks they're dumb, and people. That's like a defense mechanism, right? We all believe we're smarter than we are. Like, oh, he's talking about them. Oh, yeah, not us. Or,
yeah,
yeah, we like you too.
yeah.
He's talking about you. Um,
I mean,
yeah,
have them wear T-shirts that say, "I'd rather be a Russian than a Democrat."
mm,
I mean, if you look behind the message, I mean, so you're saying you want to be a traitor?
yeah, you want to be a traitor, and for a party that's always been anti-communist, anti-Russia, to wear a shirt like that and have
Yeah,
people wear that and to not criticize Vladimir Putin. It's just what the things that he got away with was extraordinary.
yeah.
So watching him say the things that he said and watching his base accept all of it, either as truth or as humor, and I don't know.
I mean, again, it's the message of that I am in charge. I am an alpha male.
Yeah,
I can get things done.
I'm not going to
I'm
apologize.
not gonna apologize.
Maybe the biggest message is that I'm not going to apologize.
That is, I think, that is the the appeal of Trump is that he does not apologize. I mean, it
Ever,
does not matter.
ever.
Yeah,
He's never
and the
apologized.
most people want that. They want to be able to say whatever they want.
Yeah,
And
of course we do.
yeah,
We don't want to be judged, and we don't
we don't
want
want to
to
be
silenced.
yeah silenced. We don't want to be uh, you know
Censored.
apologize
Yeah,
at all
when we
for
censor.
anything.
Um, and he like embodies that, right? He's
Yeah.
living that what people want to live. Like I'm sure people feel that way at work, you know, in social settings. And
Yeah.
have to watch what they say, their speech, and kind of words they use. But Trump did not do any of that.
I mean, we do that all the time in our lives. I mean,
do.
we go to places, we have to act a certain way,
Yep.
and this guy doesn't. I mean, he stands there and say you're fake.
Yeah. The most.
You're a
ridiculous
liar.
things. Yeah. Yeah. He'll call you a liar. He'll call you names on stage.
Even though he's lying to your face at that
Yes.
moment.
Yes. But it doesn't matter as long as
It
he's
doesn't
calling somebody
matter.
else that.
Yeah.
You're not seeing it. You're saying, oh, well, he's calling them out for what they are, liars. And they miss him, right?
Yeah.
Like I had a friend or a coworker ask me that. Like, when has Trump ever lied? When did he lie? So, well, he said Obama wasn't born in this country. That's a lie, right? That's one lie. I mean, of all the lies he's told.
It's because they want to believe that too.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though he later on said, no, he was born here.
Yeah.
Right? In 2016, he said, so was he lying then or is he lying now? Which one is it? But they didn't call him out on that. No one did.
No.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, he's because they want to believe that.
So
they
he's,
want to.
the term Teflon Don, right? Again, it's very accurate, right?
Yeah.
Nothing sticks to this person.
Nothing sticks.
So we need
And-
someone like that. Not someone as grotesque as that, but someone who's just who will fight for people, be honest with them, right? Not apologize for his positions. I mean, that's okay. It's okay to hold these views. I mean, you could say, look, you're not all going to agree, but I'm fighting because I believe they're the best thing for everyone.
I mean, nobody has to agree.
No, no one will. I mean,
no.
not everyone will. It'll never be the case where
Yeah.
even in your own party, right? They're going to agree, but
Yeah,
as long as you're sincere, be honest about what you believe and what you're fighting for,
and never apologize.
and be consistent. Yes. No.
Don't say, oh, I really didn't mean it at that time. No, say, yeah, at that time, yes, I did believe it, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah. And
I believe in not busing the people. This is busing the kid,
is that
busing
hard?
the kids.
Yeah.
I mean, at that time, that's what I did.
That's right.
Don't say,
It seems easy, doesn't it?
yeah,
Like, see, but again, we're not in that environment. It's hard. I guess it's easy on the outside to say that, but I guess when you're so entrenched the way they are for decades and decades, it's hard to like that inertia that you have going. It's hard to move against that.
Is it because we are ultra woke now, and they want to be sensitive about everything?
It seems to be. Although that's a minority of people who are like that. The ultra, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we all want decency, treat people like respectfully, not be jerks. But the ultra woke, that's not. I don't know. They're just an extreme view. They're just very loud. They're vocal. But as far as them being the majority, they're not. They're just not. They just happen to go online a lot on Twitter, and these tweets are reposted and retweeted and whatever. But I think they take it the wrong way. I think politicians take it the wrong way. They try to appeal to that minority view, and that's the wrong way to look at it. It's just not. There's no gain there. There's nothing to be gained from doing that. So
Well, I think also they're bogged down into social issues.
yeah,
Uh, they're worried about social uh, politics than rather than the things that really going to change people's lives.
economics. Yeah,
Economics. I mean, it all comes down to money.
I think because economics is harder. The social stuff is much. It's easy to say I stand with you. Right?
Yeah.
It's easy to say that. Anybody can say that.
It doesn't require anything.
It's
No
hard to
effort.
get policy through on
Yeah.
economic. How do you get a Medicare for all through? Well, that's nearly impossible at this point.
Yeah.
But saying
You're
that I
gonna.
stand with Black Lives Matter or I stand with my LGBTQ,
Yeah.
anybody can say that.
Anybody can do that.
It's fine. Um,
We
of
hear
course,
that at work all the time.
all the time. The diversity. It's good. It's a good thing. Look, I'm for it. I'm for diversity. That's not hard. It's not hard to have an initiative. Anyone
Yeah.
can do that, right? Create policy, pass it through Congress. Do that, and I'll be impressed. But no, they don't want to fight. They don't want to work hard. Now, that's the issue. They don't want to have to. It is a battle. It's a constant battle, and it's one they don't think they can win, and they're afraid of. I think the fear is losing the base somewhere along the way. Maybe they fight for the wrong thing. Maybe it's too progressive, and the majority won't I guess get on board with it. Something like that. It's votes. The word about votes, right?
Well,
So
maybe then they don't have the right pulse uh, of the party or the people.
yeah, their finger's somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's not on the pulse. It's stuck somewhere else. Yeah, and but that comes with being in Congress so long, being a politician so long. You're
In
not,
bubble.
yeah, in the bubble. You're never out there. You don't see what's actually happening.
I mean, if you look at Joe Biden, he's been in a bubble for what, 50 years, basically?
Yeah,
I mean, the last 80 years for sure because he was in the White House.
yeah, exactly right. I mean, how does he know people are struggling?
Yeah.
He's made tons of money in politics. He's fine. So he doesn't know that. And they dismiss the progressives who do know, who are out there with the people, right? They know what they're talking about. No, dismissal. That's all they get is dismissal. But again, it's easy to do when they're in the minority, so it's easy to not even give them any airtime. So that's a problem
They're in the Twitter world.
in the Twitter world. Yeah, yeah. These older people aren't on Twitter. They don't really know what's going on. And so that's what you have to do. You have to get them motivated. You have to educate them. It's harder to do with the seasoned politicians, right?
Yeah.
The best thing to do is get them out of office. You just vote them out. That's the best thing you can do. Unfortunately, people like Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, they're very safe. That people like them in their district. I don't know why they like them, but they do. Or in their
It's
states.
the name. They have the name. Name recognition.
But if you're like asking, like, what have they done for you? Like, how is your life better off now?
Do you think Nancy Pelosi would be a liberal if she was in Texas?
No, not at all. Not at all. She's an opportunist. Why
Yeah.
would she be a liberal? There's no reason to be. She was safe being one in California. Sure.
Even in California, even she's from San Francisco, she's not what San Francisco should be. I mean, the way San Francisco is.
No.
I mean, she says no Medicare. We're not ready for Medicare. I mean, come on.
Not ready? No, you're not. You have Medicare for all. You have the government program. You don't need it.
Yeah.
They're ready for it. All right. I don't know who this we is. We're not in the same league. Right? She's a
No.
multi-millionaire, and I don't.
No. She only has 2 Sub-Zero.
Oh,
refrigerator.
You're right. I might. You know what? I'm too harsh.
I mean, to multimillionaire, she needs at least 3 to get there.
I'm being overly critical, and you know what? I'm not appreciating like where she is. Her lot. Yeah.
I mean, she has what? Only 5 $12 pints of ice cream.
Well, I guess maybe I've judged too harshly.
Yeah.
Maybe yeah, I spoke too soon.
I think you're being too hard on her.
So, but besides all that, she is still in a different league than her voters. Most of her voters are not in that tax bracket.
Yeah.
I would say. So, she's detached, and it's easy to be detached. When you easily win re-election every time, You don't really have to fight. Been in Congress as long as she has.
How long has she been there?
Oh my God, I have no idea. Just look it up. It's been a long time. Very, very long time. She's been speaker twice. Um,
Twice. I mean, she's been there so long that she's
twice.
twice.
Skip through. Oh, it's unbelievable.
And she's still not conceding. I mean, she's thinking about running again this time.
Well, I
That
thought she
if
would.
if she wins, she said she's gonna run for speaker again.
No, she said she wouldn't do that. Remember,
Did she?
she did in the beginning. She goes, "This will be the last time I run for speaker." That's what
Oh,
she said, and you can look back at that and find that footage. She's going to do it. See, that's how they are. So Republicans are hypocrites.
yeah.
Democrats are hypocrites. Lindsey Graham saying, "I'm not gonna. I'll let the next president decide." No,
Unless it's the white guy.
unless it's the white guy. Then of course, when we only have 6 weeks left, we got to let him.
Yeah.
Maybe he's assuming it'll be this guy, anyway. So, but yeah, that's hypocrisy. Is obviously I hate that what about it's the both sides thing, but it's true. They both do it. They play these games. Yeah, so she will run again, and she'll probably get it again, assuming they keep the house. They probably will. Um, but the problem is she's
I think
toothless.
house is safe.
Yeah, it's safe. Um, she's a toothless um, speaker. She has all the power you could want for a politician. She doesn't use it, and I don't know what the point of her is. I mean, what is she doing there? She gets a bigger paycheck, as speaker. I guess it's not that it matters.
I don't think she's in there for money.
It's not money.
Yeah, I don't think it's the money. I think
Prestige.
it's the prestige, it's the power. She feels important.
And she is. I mean, as
Yeah.
speaker, you're super important.
I mean, you're third in line for presidency.
Yeah. I mean, you hold the purse strings. You hold.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing gets by unless you want it to get by. So yeah, she has a lot of power.
Yeah.
Doesn't use it. Doesn't know how to use it. What if Mitch McConnell were Speaker of the House? Think he'd be doing any of this, and he were a Democrat? Do you think?
Oh, nothing would happen. I mean,
I mean, we would not be back up and running until the next president gets in office, and he would shut it all down.
yeah.
So, what's the difference? Why can't we have that, right? I don't know.
Yeah, it's
we're
because
cursed.
we don't have truck nuts.
We don't have truck nuts. Man, we missed out, AJ. We should have been Republicans. But
I
these
mean,
are the issues.
I don't know if I'm not. I don't consider myself Democrat or Republican. I consider myself a collection of blue and red states. How's that?
You're America. That's what
Yeah.
you are. You're saying you're America. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. I'm just a guy that wants certain things done. I don't
Yeah.
care who does it. I want a few things done. I want a few things passed that'll benefit everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd like to have a Green New Deal, Medicare for all.
I just
Tuition.
don't want to die. Because lack of air or something.
Yeah.
Or lack of clean water.
Strengthen the EPA, right?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, was started by who? Richard Nixon.
Richard Nixon of
I mean,
all.
what happened? What happened to the Republicans? They used to cherish the environment. Whatever,
I mean,
Teddy Roosevelt.
he had a plan for healthcare. I mean, what happened?
I don't know. Well, Reagan happened. They went off the deep end, right? Government can't do anything. Right? It's worthless.
Government is the problem.
Government's a problem. What are you doing? What are you doing in government? Why are you collecting a paycheck, right? They want to shrink it down to the size. What's his name? The tax guy.
Grover Norquist.
Yeah. He wants to shrink it down to the size where you can strangle it in a bathtub.
Yeah.
Like, ooh. It's a weird, okay, but, and they don't see the value in it at all. Although they all benefit from it in their own way, especially these politicians who are.
Hey, he got the stimulus package for his organization out of this last one.
That's not hypocrisy, AJ. That's something else.
Did he return the money? No.
I'll think of a better word for it, but it's not hypocrisy. That's, again, you're being too critical to Grover.
Hey, that money was for me.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was going to somebody else's kids, to go to college, oh no, that you cannot do that.
So was the case, though, right?
Yeah.
As long as it doesn't affect them, it's fine. But when
Yeah.
it starts to affect them, yeah, I want the money.
I want
We
money.
see it all the time with these bailouts. You know, the ones who criticize government the most, the ones who government spend, they criticize government spending. When the rubber hits the road, yeah, they're the first one with their hands out. They
Yeah.
want that money. So
Did you see American Airlines CEO begging, basically crying? I mean,
always
this guy was
surprised.
saying, "Our people are doing such a good job.
Hmm.
We need this bailout. We need." He didn't say bailout, but he said we need this package to
Okay.
save jobs.
You know what
Really?
else could have saved jobs? Stock buybacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could have saved jobs as well.
I mean, you spend $54 billion buying back stocks when you could have saved half of that and saved your people.
Why do I need to subsidize American Airlines?
Yeah.
The alien idea. Well, this is what they talk about when they talk about like the market disciplines, right? We expect every other country to adhere to market discipline, right? Except us. I mean, look at the number of bailouts we've had over the God last several decades, and you'll see we don't really believe it. Free markets, it's a nice idea, it's not real. Because at the end of the day,
Free markets are for you.
yeah, they're for us. Yeah, yeah. Capitalism is for us.
Yeah.
Socialism, it's for those guys up at the top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we see it all the time. We know the banks are getting bailed out. We know it for a fact. It's going to happen. These big corporations are going to get bailed out because they know that capitalism, the way it's practiced, it's not sustainable. Yeah, and other countries have seen it as well. They've seen that just that pure capitalism can't be done.
If you go by definition, we don't have that. I mean, it's a quasi
It's quasi,
capitalism.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's a mix, right?
It's a
It's
mix
mixed
of
economy.
socialism.
Sure. But people know, people who espouse it all the time, they know better. It's again, it's a concept. It's something that you put on a billboard.
Yeah.
You don't really believe it. I mean, nobody really believes it out there. They just talk about it like they do, because it doesn't work. It doesn't work because otherwise you'd probably have half the companies in business now that you have because
Yeah.
they'd have been gone decades ago. So it's just I don't know. It's a farce maybe. I mean, there are some principles at work. Many don't.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So this session's been pretty
Constructive.
constructive, I think. We talked about a lot of stuff.
This is an indicator of what future podcasts will look like
Yeah.
for our audience. This is it'll kind of meander here and there.
I mean, it's going to be freewheeling.
Yeah, free flowing, free rolling.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
stream of
going to be,
consciousness.
yeah, I mean, it's not going to be on certain topics.
Yeah, we're not on like a TV set, right?
Yeah.
This is in a news company where we're just talking. There's
We're
two guys talking about
to
politics.
two regular Joes.
Two regular Joes. Jose. And hopefully we can later we'll have people come on and we'll have callers and we'll talk to guests and we'll hash these things out. You know, we're open minded.
We're going to bring the other side.
Yeah, we have our views obviously, but
Yeah.
we're not immune to good arguments.
No,
Rational
we're not.
thinking.
I mean, we're willing to talk to other people.
Sure, absolutely. We just want to have some kind of consensus
Yeah.
of what's best for the country. So, AJ, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming. All right.
All right. Until next week.